YouTube, what is going on? Scenario Talk 23. I'm back with another video. Before we get into the video, YouTube, I need you to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Turn on that post notification bell while you are at it. Today we got 5 worst projects in U.S. history. Let's get straight into it.
Jordan Downs was built in 1944. It had 700 units and 103 buildings in total, ranging from 1-bedroom to 5-bedroom apartments.
Ooh, 5 bedrooms.
It's completely surrounded by various other hoods and high crime areas. It was originally semi-permanent housing for white war workers, but it converted to a public housing in 1950. It was 100% black by the 1960s. Mostly immigrants from the South. It grew a bad reputation quick in the 60s. Many residents were unemployed and relied on welfare.
Where are we? We're in the Jordan Down Project. We're in WAP. We're in extreme poverty. So this is poverty down here. You know, you got house niggas, you got field niggas. These are field niggas. This is where slaves migrated from the South to. And from here is where gangs all started from, what they proclaim. But from here is where people migrated to Compton, to the house district. And these are the projects right here. Our ghettos and, you know, the mindset of illiteracy and, joblessness. This is it right here. Broken home families, you know, political corruption, false promises. You know, this is it right here.
Now, imagine living in some shit like that.
Hey, do you ever walk into a room and completely forget why you're there?
Yeah, totally.
The Watts riots of '65 made it even worse.
232 businesses were destroyed and 632 businesses were damaged. Considering all types of structures, 242 buildings were destroyed and 644 were damaged.
And after all of the carnage, businesses were reluctant to set up here. This meant there was an influx of alcohol stores and churches, but nothing else to actually help the community. Police were reluctant to patrol the area as well, meaning a lot of crime went unchecked. In the 70s, the Grape Street Crips, one of the most notorious and largest Crip sets, set up shop here. They beefed with the Nickerson Gardens, home of the Bounty Hunter Bloods, the largest blood set in LA. Many bodies have dropped over the years on both sides.
The way I feel, we have no way else way to vent our frustration out. Because we already at the bottom. You know, what else can we do? Nothing but fight.
If it looks familiar, it's probably because it was heavily featured in Menace to Society. A great choice for the movie, because it was the quintessential LA hood full of all the ills that plagued South Central for years. It featured in GTA San Andreas as the Willowfield neighborhood as well. Some notable alumni of Jordan Downs include 03 Greedo, Tyrese, and Flojo. Today, Jordan Downs is gradually being destroyed in favor of the new, more appealing apartments. These 28 identical lifeless buildings were built in 1962 in Bronzeville on the south side of Chicago. It was the largest project in the country at one time. It was more like a concrete maze and had no trees in sight. Chicago had many segregation laws at the time, and still to this day one of the most segregated cities in America. From the jump, things were bad at Robert Taylor. It was built for $11,000, but held $27,000. It soon became one of the top 5 poorest areas in the country, with mostly single-parent households making less than $5,000 a year. Majority of people here had a family member in prison. It was basically a high-rise slum and heavily neglected by the city. That meant faulty garbage chutes, broken elevators, with no maintenance. More than that, it was a hub of drug dealing and a home turf of multiple gangs that still exist to this day. Mickey Cobras, GD, and BDs to be exact. Even the police and ambulance were scared to come here, because once you got inside, it was a maze of dark hallways.
Elevators are a common setting for assaults. In fact, a fifth of crimes at Robert Taylor happened to residents while they're coming in and out of their buildings.
It was the worst in the 70s, and in one weekend there was 300 shootings around Robert Taylor, and 28 people were killed.
If you got a gun and that's the only way you can fight me is by a gun, then I have to, you ain't no man, but I'm going to have to fight your way in order to protect what's mine. Ain't no way.
No cap, man.
I don't care whether you with a group of people or you by yourself. You always have to keep your guard on that because you don't know when temptation is lurking around the corner for, for your number to come up,
That's it with all
sure of that, bro.
That's the thing that worries me, man. You can't be fair out here, man. You have to play by their rules. If you don't, then you lost out.
There's a few notorious cases from here too.
That's how
October 76. 22-year-old Denise Dozier thrown from the 15th floor apartment window. She survived. Because of this, the city built fences to enclose the balconies, and the project looked more like an asylum than
Oh
homes.
my God.
In August 91,
Bro, what?
like an asylum. Because of this, the city built fences to 22-year-old Denise Dozier thrown from the 15th floor apartment window.
Bro, that shit, only reason I'm doing, because, bro, my mom lived in the projects in Staten Island, New York, bro. It's the same way. She was like all the way up to the top, like probably in the middle. It had to be at least to like the 10th floor, bro. They have nothing blocking the walkway. Like there's like a little rail, but you can definitely jump off of it if you wanted to and stuff like that. Like shit like that, they need to have that built as soon as they start building the apartment.
Because of this, the city built fences to enclose the balconies, and the project looked more like an asylum than homes. In August 91, Officer Jimmy Haynes was shot by a sniper. He died 2 days later. Some famous faces were able to make it out of here. Mr. T, Corey Holcomb.
Once you meet with a TurboTax expert who will do your taxes for you, you're free to do not taxes.
That nigga here, I seen him before.
Kenny Duckworth, Open Mike Eagle, all hail from Robert Taylor Holmes. Kendrick even raps about this briefly on this song Duckworth, describing his father's story. He raps, he came from the streets, the Robert Taylor Holmes, Southside Project, Chirac, the Terror Dome. Currently, the city moved out all of the residents by 2005. It was completely demolished by 2007. This north side of Chicago project was home to 15,000 and was the largest housing project on the whole planet at one point. Ironically, it was on the richest side of town, built right in between the richest neighborhoods in Chicago, Lincoln Park and the Gold Coast, and less than a mile from Michigan Ave. The particular area it was built on had always been associated with poverty, starting with Swedish immigrants, then Irish, and then black immigrants. A 1900s map of the area depicts this accurately. Cabrini Green became the poster child for everything wrong with the public housing system. It was literally the poorest zip code in the U.S. The city was strapped for cash, or even the lawns were paved over to save on maintenance money. New buildings were built on tight budgets and had poor quality. It was rat and cockroach infested and had garbage stuck in the trash chute, and all the way to the 15th floor. There was graffiti inside the actual buildings, and each building was controlled by different gangs. Gangs even controlled the elevators, and you never knew what to expect once the elevator doors opened.
Do the gangs control the elevators?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they can control them. At one time, matter of fact, they were hiding up here. And if a young lady got on the elevator, jumped down and, do what they wanted to do to her. They used to hide guns up there.
Yeah, bro, like, how did that shit?
This is 11.
Man, it was a wild time, bro.
It's pretty dark out there. Yeah. And see, that's another thing about these elevators. Because you never know what's going to happen when the door opens.
The balconies were fenced in to stop people from dumping trash into the yard. It looked more like a prison block or animal cages than housing for people. To top it off, gang members would celebrate New Year's by firing guns in the air. As far as the stats go, it wasn't uncommon for 200 people shot or stabbed every year. In fact, during the 90s documentary on the crime here, someone was stabbed and died minutes later during the actual filming. The incident itself wasn't caught on camera, but the sad moments that followed were. The link to that video is in the description. Some of the most high-profile cases out of Cabrini Green were the case of Girl X, which gave Cabrini Green national media attention due to the severity of the crime. Another famous incident was Mayor Jane Byrne moving into the projects to show that Chicago's crime rate wasn't so bad. She only lasted 3 weeks. Some famous people that made it out of here are Curtis Mayfield and Polo G, who grew up in the nearby Marshall Projects. The Good Times TV show was based here, and it also served as inspiration for both Candyman movies. It also featured in Kanye West's Homecoming video. Currently, it was demolished in 2011, and only 2 buildings remain. It looks nothing like it used to now. Located in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, the Marcy houses were built a few years after World War II in 1949. These 27 six-story buildings with 1,700 apartments hold 4,000 residents, brought to fame by rapper Jay-Z, who has described the homes as a block away from hell, the place where the news cameras never come. One frequent visitor to the projects, however, is the NYPD. Gang disputes are common here, and the gangs have evolved over the years as well, and residents often hear the crack of bullets. In 2014, 4 teenagers were shot and 1 killed in the Marcy houses due to turf wars. Crack hit the Marcy houses hard in the 80s, like the rest of the inner cities in America. Many young children sold crack to take care of themselves because a lot of their parents turned into crack fiends. Jay-Z himself admits to selling crack in Marcy as a teenager. He almost lost his life on multiple occasions. To make Marcy's situation worse, on December 20th, 2015, 2 police officers were shot and killed a block from the Marcy homes. Since the shooting, police have been scarce in Marcy. New Orleans is a city that is rich in culture. The city is often associated with jazz and a good culinary scene. However, the city has also a much grimier side to it, one that's a lot less tourist-friendly. New Orleans has a reputation for being one of the murder capitals of the U.S. The Magnolia Projects, also known as the C.J. Peak Projects, was known countrywide for its high murder and crime rate. New Orleans rapper Juvenile described the project as a haven for drug dealing and violent crime. In a song, he described it like this: on New Year's, lights get shot out at 6 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna be getting shot. The trials and tribulations inspired many Magnolias to make it out. Several of the rap game's big names were born and raised in the Magnolia Projects and share their struggles through their music. Artists like Birdman, Juvenile, and Turk all hail from Magnolia. A young female rapper nicknamed Magnolia Shorty was one of the many victims of the violence that plagued Magnolia. The rapper was shot to death in 2010 in her car not far from Magnolia. 2 men pulled into the apartment parking lot right after she got home and unloaded into her car. She was hit 26 times. Her murder still remains unsolved. After Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, nearly 600 people were evacuated from Magnolia, and it became a ghost town. In 2008, they were completely demolished, replaced by a new housing development called Harmony Oaks.
Damn, man. I'm surprised. Well, I mean, I was going to say something about Queensbridge, but I don't really know if that would qualify for top 5 worst. It probably wasn't one of the worst. But I didn't know that Marcy's was one of the worst. I didn't know that. But guess I know now. YouTube, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Turn on that post notification bell. Get me to 1,000 subs, YouTube. Come on now. Catch me on the next one.